Hey everybody, welcome back to another review. Hope you guys been enjoying the content on the channel as of late, and let me just stop for a second just so I can address my face. Just listen to something that got me a little worked up, so just, kind of a personal thing that happened, but thankfully nothing happened, so, so everything is all good, thankfully, but yeah, it has nothing to do with the film, it just has to do with something personal that just happened, so just letting you guys know, just in case you guys notice if I'm a little glassy-eyed, that's just because I just, something happened personally, and I'm just trying to forget about it. So, and then definitely this will help. So, I'm not at the theater because, well, the personal thing happened, but I checked out Beau Is Evil, or Beau Is Evil, Beau Is Afraid. Sorry, not, Beau Is Afraid. Written and directed by Ari Aster, who of course gave us other films like Hereditary, which I have not seen actually. I know that a lot of people really like that film. I haven't seen it. Just I don't know what it is. Just never got around to seeing it. But I did check out Midsummer when it came out, and I found it to be very, very involving. It is. A little lacking in characterizations, I believe. I mean, it's more of a thematic study than anything. But it was still involving and engaging and, to an extent grotesque. There's definitely some arresting visuals in that film. But I appreciate that film. And I hear a lot of good things about Hereditary, so maybe I will check out that film at some point. But Beau Is Afraid tells a story of a really anxious and really childlike figure who's going back to visit his mother, and it goes through this very visually driven and very Odyssey-like journey towards said thing. And the movie is basically about confronting reality and accepting the truth of what is and how you feel about it, and ultimately being able to, save yourself from more misery, basically. And it also has, details of suppressed trauma and of abuse, clearly abuse, parental abuse. It's a lot of trauma that's surrounding this character, and I think that the film highlights that very well, and I think that the visual sensibilities I felt were very fascinating. I do think there has been that discussion about the film being a bit self-indulgent, and to an extent I can agree with that, but the film that I would oddly enough compare this to is Bardo, which came out last year, directed by Alejandro Iñárritu. To me, that was more of a pleasure than, like someone just stroking themselves on camera, where this feels more artistry. It feels like there's more of a purpose with said visuals, and it feels like that there is more of a commitment to study its ideas and this character. Because that's the difference between Midsommar and this, is that Midsommar is more of a study of themes, where Beau Is Afraid is more of a study of character. And I found the visuals in general, just this plethora of different varieties, I found them to be very compelling and very interesting, and what it really is what drives the film forward. Joaquin Phoenix is also, once again, just a delight to see on screen. He captures the inner child very well with this performance. He's not playing it, in a goofy kind of fashion, because it feels like it could have definitely leaned into those kinds of qualities, but it's perfectly, in that man-child and very traumatized figure. It's a character that's riddled with anxiety. I mean, all the visuals kind of play that up to an extent with how his anxiety is, and how his inner turmoil emotionally. Because the thing that you have to understand about Beau Is Afraid is that it is a film that is 100% metaphorical. So if you were to take this film straight-faced, because I've been seeing that the film has been getting some mixed reviews, and I can see why, because it is, just to get some of my some of my quibbles out of the way. It is long. It is a very long film. I think that it could have definitely been benefited from some trimming. And it does dip into some levels of self-indulgence when it comes to those visuals. But like I said, I wasn't as irritated by that as I was with, with Bardo, which I felt was more of someone stroking themselves thin. With this, where it feels like there's a more of a purpose to try to have this be artistically purposeful versus, with what Bardo was trying to do. But it certainly is long. I mean, there was a point in the film where I felt, okay, this is the end, and then it just kept on going, and then it just kept on going, and it dragged itself out for about another 30 or so minutes. So it could have absolutely have benefited from some trimming, and it isn't as thematically sound as I would want it to be, because it is fairly easy to figure out what the film is about, because once you get the idea that he is a very anxious figure and he's dealing with a lot of trauma and that he's a victim of abuse and ultimately he's wallowing in his own misery, like once you get that idea, that he's in some ways almost victimizing himself, and he's having a hard time understanding that the key to fixing himself is himself. No one else is going to be doing that for him. The only person who can help himself heal is truly himself. So, and that idea I felt was like just being really hammered, and like I wish that it had more meat going on, because I mean, visually, like I said, it's delightful. I mean, I definitely enjoyed the visual journey that the film was, and again the performance from Joaquin Phoenix and every other player in the film as well, like Nathan Lane and all these other players. I felt that they were pretty good. So it has very committed performances, and it's visually quite interesting. And I do appreciate the aura of the film as well. Like, it has a very offbeat, mysterious quality. But the problem with Beau Is Afraid is that it isn't as mysterious as it believes it thinks it is. It's a film that I think is very easy to figure out. And I believe that once you figure out, I think the reason why it's been getting a lot of mixed reviews is that it very much depends on how alert you are to certain details and alert to certain ideas. I feel that if you are like me, or actually not like me, but if you're someone who catches on to that idea very quickly, that he's a victim of trauma and he's having a hard time, moving on from said place, and basically starting his healing process. When you put that all together, there is that danger that you might find yourself annoyed with the film, because then there's a 2.5 hours, because I caught onto it very early. There's 2.5 hours more of visuals that are hammering the same point home. So it definitely has that potential, but it surprisingly didn't do that for me. I mean, I knew what was going on. I wasn't surprised by it. I mean, but I thought it was intriguing. I thought it was investing. I think that it really has to do with the performances and just the plethora of visuals, and more or less for the purpose of said visuals. It wasn't to do what Bardo did, which was that, oh, look at what I can do visually. It's a film that uses its visuals for the benefit of its themes, and it's using it to highlight its themes and and hence giving it some, and having some form of purpose within all that. And though it isn't as rich as or as mysterious as the film itself thinks it is, I still found it to be entertaining, and I still found myself enjoying its company. I do believe it overstays its welcome, and I do believe that it definitely dips its toe into some levels of self-indulgence, but it was thankfully not enough that where it interfered with my experience with it. I don't think it's a great film by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said, it has its issues, but I thought it was a pretty good time, all things considered, because it just has a momentum and a lingering sensibility that I found to be investing and intriguing, and just downright interesting. Um, and I think it's just worth it just for the performances. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix really, again, I think shows that he's one of the greats of today. He really puts his all in this. He's like, there's, at one point he's like, he's like, it's a performance that really demands for him to get emotional quite a bit, and you see him, going through like certain levels of emotion. Like you see him at many points confused, and then at many points very, very, very anxious, and then other points, very scared and very tense. But the one other thing I will say very quickly that I just remembered is that I do think that the self-indulgent parts, I do think though can be a bit exaggerate. I do think that some of the points where it gets self-indulgent, I do think is also just strangely exaggerative. Like I'm not going to say what it was, but towards the end, there's this running idea that he never has ever met his father, and the point of where he, without spoiling anything, kind of reconnects with him in some way. It just, at that point, I was just like, really? I mean, that's okay. I mean, like, it's stuff like that where I was like, okay, I can get why people are saying this is kind of a egregious or very self-indulgent, stuff like that, But thankfully, that is just a segment and not the entire film, because I really think that it's more purposeful than I think people are giving credit for. So, it's not great. It's certainly not, a enthralling or deeply, felt kind of film. But I thought it was just entertaining. It is a film that I knew at its core what it was about, but it gave me a reason to stick around, from both its visuals and its performances. It was just fun. It was just a fun little visual treat that has some very, very interesting performances at the center of it. So, so that's my thoughts on Beau Is Afraid. I thought it was good. I don't think it was great, but it was, I think, definitely better than I think the reception of it has been lately. Or has been for it. I think it's I definitely think it's better than a lot of people are saying it is, but again, it's all subjective. But you guys let me know your thoughts on Beau Is Afraid. Did you guys like it? Did you guys not like it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Apologies at the very start of the video. Just, life is crazy sometimes. But that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye, guys. And just a PSA, stay safe out there when you're driving. It gets pretty crazy out there. So just be safe out there, guys. But, and be aware of stupid drivers. There's lots of them out there. But thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.